My daughter and her boyfriend have finished off the beer. My granddaughter wants another worm bin for herself, so I've just had an idea. Okay, so I thought it'd be a bit of fun to try and turn this 5 litre keg or cask, whatever you want to call it, of beer into a worm bin for my granddaughter. You remember last year I made her a yogurt pot worm bin, which she still has, and it's going very well. So this will be something a little bit different. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm going to make this up as I go along, but I think that centerpiece, which I think is used to get air or pressure into the keg, that should easily pop out with a flathead screwdriver. The handle clips off quite easily, which is good, but I don't think I'll be able to use that as a handle when I put the weight of the worms and the compost into it. This has got to come off somehow, but as I look at that, it just reminds me of a big tin of beans, so I might be able to use a tin opener on the side of that. It's obviously well sealed at the top, or I might be able to get a flathead screwdriver underneath that. I'm not sure yet. So the centerpiece pops out quite easy with a flathead screwdriver. That's a good start. There's a little bit of dregs at the bottom, so I'm just going to feed them to my seed starting mix, because there's nothing as funny as drunk seedlings. And we're going to have a little think about what to do here. I don't know if to, well, the flathead screwdriver now, as you can see, that's just going to hack it. So I think I'll go to plan B, which is the tin opener, see if that works. And ta-da! Yes, it does. It worked quite well. So I'm quite happy with that. All looking good so far. Still a little bit of drag in the bottom there, but the edges are very sharp, so I'm gonna have to tape them, I think. So I just ran some water through it to see if the water would run out under gravity and not just pressure. There's my sprinkles, giving it a good rinse. And because there's a gap between it's a bit like the worm tower, there's a gap at the bottom there, I just put some cardboard in. The top, put a tissue across, gaffer tape that in place, that will let air in. The handle slips back on okay, and that's basically the worm keg, the beer keg worm bin. That was pretty quick and easy. So here we are at the big worm bin. There's been an absolute explosion of isopods, as you can see here. They're everywhere, and if you remember this bin a few months back, I put probably a foot or more of leaves on it, and all the leaf is almost all gone. So I'm just going to pick a handful of worms out of this big bin, and I'm going to use a lot of bedding, obviously, from the same bin as well. Now this is because the worms will be used to this. I don't want too much unbroken food because it's a tiny little keg, so I don't want the environment to become noxious on them. So it'll be just mostly leaves, carbon based stuff, bedding, that I'm going to be taking up. Bit of cardboard, bit of leaves. It's plenty moist, so I don't need to wet it down. And just a few worms to start it off and see how they get on. Worms are doing very well in this bin, so I'm very happy with that as well. So yeah, it's just mostly clumps of leaves, which again, because it's coming from the bin they're living in, they'll be used to that. It won't feel too dissimilar to where they were. I just need to watch those edges. That top is very sharp. And that's the beer keg worm bin. That's the 5 litre beer keg worm bin. So we'll see how this gets on. I'll come back to it in a month or so and see how it's doing. This is just for a little bit of fun. I hope my granddaughter enjoys it. I think she will. And as always, thanks for watching.